Yes.
Well, yeah, then I will just start by saying a huge thank you for inviting us for this urban forum. We're both proud and happy to be part of the discussion of the future of urbanism and architecture here in this special setting. I will give you today a short introduction to the methodology and the ethos of EFFEKT, and then I will hand over the stage to Juan, who will give you a deeper introduction to the projects that we have ongoing as part of the sort of reconstruction or the future of urbanism in Ukraine. But let me start by sharing the screen and give you a short introduction to EFFEKT. I can see that the screen sharing is disabled by the host, so maybe that can be enabled. So today we're going to talk about social architecture and how we can combine sort of thriving future within planetary boundaries. This is something that we have worked a lot on through different projects. EFFEKT is a studio based in Copenhagen. We are 50, 60 people working within urbanism, architecture, and landscape on a mission to research, envision, and realize the change that we hope to see in the world. And that's what we do. So we work within architecture, within urbanism, both urban renovation, transformation, and also sort of greenfield development, within landscape design and research. So we have a quite broad sort of scope of activities and projects that you can sort of see and get it.
One second, maybe we need to wait a second, Sinus, so we managed to share your screen in the big screen, because now it's still your face, and it's very nice, but I think we will be good to have the share screen also. So I think
absolutely.
The technical team, I think, they are
poorly
trying
without
to solve
the images.
Okay, so I think we are ready. We see the share screen. We don't see you, Sinus, but I think it's okay if you just guide us through the presentation. Yes.
That's perfect. But you still hear me?
Yes. Well.
Good. So I guess the slide now is showing the slides architecture, urbanism, landscape, and research, just to give you an overview of the field in which we engage, and which we see as fully connected. This is a bigger sort of expression of the projects that we work with in all these scales. And we are working across different countries, but mostly centralized around European projects and activities. So EFFEKT is the Danish word for impact. And we took that name because we wanted to see architecture as the means to an end, the means to create an impact, whether that is a social impact, environmental impact, or an economic impact. We started out mostly focusing on architecture as a social and sort of cultural change potential. But in the last 10 years, we have widened our scope to really engage also in the big challenges that we see globally with climate change and the depletion of nature. And we did that when we saw this big chart, which is showing the socio-economic trends of the last 250 years on the one side, and the ecological impacts that has had on the other side. Just to give you a few examples, this is the global population growth, the energy consumption following that, the water usage also on a global scale, the amounts of air trips, the speed of deforestation, and species going extinct, and the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere, and the following rise in surface temperature, which is sort of creating this portrait of our age, which has been dubbed the Great Acceleration. And this is a movement or a development starting basically at the Industrial Revolution, but it really takes up speed in the last 50 years, so basically in my lifetime. And it puts us, our generation, at this peak of the development up here. And when we saw this and understood this sort of development, we thought we will make it the effort of our company in the next years to come to actually take up this as the biggest design challenge that we have on a global scale, to bring back the balance within the natural environment. So that entails also a rethinking of the human kind of centric approach to how we live in the world. So we call this the shift from ego to eco, where we see humans, our cities and our houses as bigger parts of ecosystems where we cannot live without the rest, and we need to rethink the connections with nature. Or to say it with David Attenborough's words, we are not apart from nature, we are a part of nature. And architecture is in a way the practice in which we can shape the relation between humans and the natural world we are part of. And we see that as the big agenda. And for that reason, we decided not only to do traditional architectural consultancy, but establish a research and design unit in which we can basically ask the big questions that are relevant for the changes and the shifts in society, and for reconnecting the built environment with the natural environment around us. So that has led to a number of kind of innovative research-driven projects, like this destination in a Danish forest, in which we investigated how can we sort of connect people with nature and still protect the nature that is the attraction. Or this research project asking, can neighborhoods actually feed and power themselves with fresh water, electricity, and also local food supply? Or this project in which we managed to design a completely new urban space in Copenhagen, only reusing material that were already owned by the city of Copenhagen and that had already been used before. Or this project in which we have redeveloped a kind of 70s, 60s development in the city of Aarhus by using nature as the means to regenerate and rethink the whole identity and quality of this area. Or this project in which we have repurposed an old industrial facility, an old factory, into a cultural house for street sports. Or this project, which is thinking about creating sort of quality of life in tiny homes to give homes for the many young people that want to live in the center of Copenhagen. Or this project, which Juan will tell you much more about, in which we have endeavored to build homes that are healthy for both people and planet. And so the general sort of introduction that I wanted to make here is to see architecture and urbanism as the means to shape the future of urbanism, to shape and rethink and reconstruct our society, and as such also something that we feel can be useful in the reconstruction and the development of Ukrainian society in this special time and situation. So thank you so much for inviting us into this discussion, and I will now leave the stage and hand over the word to Juan to go deeper into the projects that we have ongoing in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's check it's going well. Okay, have it upside down. Nice, yes. So, hi everyone. I will follow up where Sinus has left it. Thank you so much, Sinus, for the introduction. And I will try now to go a bit deeper into this project, Living Places, and the methodology behind, and how this applies to one example that we are developing now here in Ukraine. No? First, to talk about what is the methodology and the way of thinking behind Living Places. And it's this idea of how can we do houses that are good for people and good for the planet. And that's a very important thing to think. Like, this is the project. What did was to use these 5 principles that were the way that we could really think about this way. No? And the health principle is what we said at the beginning. This healthy homes for people means indoor climate, and healthy homes for the planet means life cycle assessment, that we'll go a bit into detail later. And then we have these other 4 principles that they complement the more holistic approach. No? That is the share, simple, adaptive, and scalable principle. And I would like to go with you through all these 5 so you could understand the way of thinking behind the project. No? As I said first, the core principles are the health for people and planet. And in the health for the planet principle, it's all about the life cycle assessment and how to move from the standard way of thinking of operational energy to a more holistic approach when we see the whole life cycle with also the embodied energy, and how there is a huge impact in the initial phase of the project and also in the end of the project. And by rethinking the way we use materials to reduce that impact in quite impressively way. No? And we do that by thinking each of the elements. No? Each of the build-ups, the foundation, the walls, the windows, the roof, everything, and how we can optimize for that solution. No? And this allows us to reduce 65% from a standard house, which is an incredible difference compared with what was built before. And that's like 1/3 of the impact, no? As I said before. So it's a good difference. And if we think about the health for the people, it's all about indoor climate. And there are like these 5 principles, that is daylight, thermal environment, indoor air quality, acoustics, and the relation between interior and exterior, that all study in detail allow to have and ensure a good indoor climate. And all this can be measured in tools like the active house radar to ensure that we have the measurements and performance indicators. No? And this, as I said, the project managed to get 1/3 of the CO2 impact and 3 times better indoor climate, which switched totally the conversation in the building industry in Denmark afterwards. The rest of the other principles is like third principle, that is all about how thinking about what spaces of the house or of the development can be private and what one can be shared by the community, then we can optimize the space used for housing and have a bigger space for shared elements. No? So then the result is that in the same land space, we can have a more dense development with houses, and also that's increased the possibility of creating community and relation between people, because that density not only means more inhabitants, but means more space for sharing facilities. Moving to the next principle, that is the simple principle, it's all about how the building systems and the technical systems are independent because they have different lifetimes. The ones are 50, 100 years, or they are 20, so how we can think about the future of the house and the way it's going to be maintained and transformed in the process, no? And that's allow us to be able to scale the project, to adapt it to different contexts and different typologies, as you can see here, no? Next, yes. And when we talk about scalability, that's also a very important principle, because all the previous principles are great and really important, but without really accounting for the cost will not be possible. And what was very interesting in the research that we did is that sometimes the more sustainable solution with lower CO2 impact was also the one with lower price. So sometimes there is a win-win situation, no? And that allowed us to develop the Living Places project, which was an example in Copenhagen that we did, no? And what we have done now, and we are working now with the local actors, is about children's living places. That has been a transfer of all this knowledge that we have gathered about how to build sustainable, healthy, and affordable homes towards the Ukrainian context and toward the foster care for children. And this project has focused in 2 aspects. One is like to be able to showcase an example of how to build more sustainable in the Ukrainian context and how to help the reconstruction, as living places is a methodology, a way of thinking, no? And also how to be able to move a bit from institutional care to a more foster family care, where children are supported in more integrated ways. The project has been done thanks to several, all of the actors of the project, and what is very interesting to say, I think, when we see about the architecture is how we have not only considered the principles that we have living places, but very early in the design and in the process, we have incorporated the foster families and their needs, so then the project has been adapted and integrated to the new context. And what we are going to develop in Lviv, here close by, it's 3 homes and 1 community center for the whole area, not only for the houses, but for the neighborhood and the local community. And I will say that the project intends to develop several locations in Ukraine. And Lviv is the first one, and we can thank that to the local authorities that has been very, very supportive to the process and very engaged into this project. And I think with that short introduction, due also to the short time, we will end up here, and I will be around for the rest of the day, so any questions and things, I will be happy to support and answer. Thank you so much for everyone. Yes?